Natchiappan.
Uh,
I think
Thank you,
your party has 12 minutes plus, but conclude in 7-8 minutes.
thank you
That will be
very
a
much,
help for all of us.
Deputy Chairman, sir. Actually, I congratulate the Honorable Law Minister, Mr. Ravi Shankar, for having the historical role of bringing the law, which was initiated for many years by many government. In the 11th Lok Sabha, that is in 1991 onwards, till the 16th Lok Sabha, which is now we are having it, there were 8 governments and 6 prime ministers were there. Every time they used to try to work out by bringing some sort of law to see that the appointments are properly made instead of having the 1993 judgment, which made the judges can elect themselves within their own fraternity. Sir, the constitution framers are very clear in telling that the parliament is the supreme when you compare with the judiciary or the executive. The powers which were given can very easily be assessed by way of the preamble of our constitution, which gives a very clear version of how the constitution thinks. I'm just reading the preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political. In that way it goes about. Finally, it ends about the definition of the liberty, equality, and fraternity. Now, the justice in the social and economic and political aspect is to be given by all the 3 wings of the Constitution India. The state is having the executive power, which is elected by the people. It reflects upon the people how the particular period the people feels that this type of government has to come. That is the parliament which is having the Lok Sabha is elected. Similarly, the states are electing their own representatives to the Rajya Sabha to reflect what is the attitude of the state governments, state people, linguistic and ethnic cultural groups. They feel that what type of representation we expect from the Senate, this Rajya Sabha. Therefore, this is the reflection of the people's mind. That is the accountability of the representatives to the people who have been elected by them. Therefore, it has to reflect whether it is a judiciary or executive action or parliamentary or legislative action, the people's will has to come out. It has to be reflected in each and every action because the accountability is to the people by the representatives who were elected by the people. Therefore, the executive power is nothing but the people's power which is given through the parliament, and the parliament is the supreme according to the constitution. If you read the constitution article 124, it gives the power in the first clause, the parliament by law prescribes a larger number of the judges. The number of the judges of the Supreme Court can be done only by the parliament. Similarly, the removal of the judges can be done by the parliament. The procedure for removal is also to be done by the parliament. The salaries of the particular judges, whether it is a Supreme Court or High Court, it is also vested in Article 124 to the parliament. Similarly, Article 145, even on the working, I'm just reading that article, clause 1, subject to the provisions of any law made by the parliament, make rules for regulating generally the practice and procedures of the court. Therefore, the entire thing, whether it is a salary or appointment or the procedure of working, everything vested upon the parliament. Parliament is supreme to see that everything is properly done, whether it is in the legislature, whether it is in the judiciary or in the executive, because these are the people going to answer to the people. They are accountable to the people. If the judiciary makes a particular aspect of the judgment, people are asking the executive who are elected by them, the parliament members, parliament, they are asking why you have done this one. We started from the Jain diary where some initials were put up. Many of the top level dignitaries of the political parties were facing the trial. We never saw such a thing. An accused diary can be used as the evidence against innocent people, and finally they end up like that. We can have plenty of cases from 1993 till date, how the innocent political leaders were brought in for the court procedure. Because the executive, that is the parliament, was depending upon many of the coalition partners. Therefore, they were not energetic enough to see that the judiciary is pinned down. But I congratulate the government. They have taken the steps earlier part. If they have waited for 6 months more, they will also face certain cases against their own ministers. There will be many scams will be coming out, and then they have to look after that work rather than this type of bringing a legislature. Therefore, I feel it is a correct time, but I request you that you have to bring a package. When our opposition leader at that time, Jetli, was very often used to take it in the debates, that you should have a comprehensive enactment on the appointment, taking action upon the judges, and also the certain views on how the salary and other things have to be fixed. Now the Judicial Accountability Bill is before the Parliament. It ought to have come. But the same mechanism which is now brought in by this constitutional amendment need not be vested with the same powers, because it is appointing authority. Appointing authority cannot have the disciplinary action to be taken and the inquiry is to be held. We have to bring out another body, which is a Judicial Accountability Commission, which has to be brought in, and it has to be brought in at an appropriate time when the government feels it is proper. Similarly, sir, I would like just to take a rush up through the two provisions. In this constitutional amendment, we find that more or less the constitutional acceptance for the collegium is given. 3 judges who were called themselves as a collegium from 1993 judgment onwards, they are now accepted as a constitutional body, provided the executive is also reflected with the judiciary's consent. 2 more eminent jurists are also appointed. Who are they? Who is appointing? The Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of India, and the leader of the opposition or the larger group of the opposition in the Parliament. Therefore, here is also the judiciary is having the say to appoint the persons who are called as the eminent persons. Therefore, here also the judiciary is having a strong hold upon it to see that the proper persons are appointed. Similarly, sir, if you take the Article 222, there is 2 clauses are made, 124B, which is now going to be inserted. Clause B, recommend transfer of Chief Justice and other judges of the High Courts from one High Court to another High Court. And C, ensure that the persons recommended is of ability and integrity. I'm sorry, sir, more or less the transfer is made only for the punishment. Nowadays, the judiciary started to usurp the power of challenging the federal setup of India. Sir, the person who was born and educated in a particular state, in a culture, in a linguistic manner, he should be the judge of the High Court of a particular state. He should be the Chief Justice of that particular state. He has to reflect the culture and the linguistic aspect of that particular state. Now you are removing them to some other state and putting some other person as the Chief Justice of a High Court. And number 2 is also senior most judge is also some other state. They are becoming the collegium to select the members. It is more or less, I feel, sir, I will conclude it. You are given the time, I will conclude it.
Yeah, because, I know your party has 6 more minutes, but sacrifice 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
always
take 1
we
more
are sacrificing, sir.
Yes, sacrifice from your
is
side.
Always sacrificing everything.
Sacrifice is always good.
Sir, I would like to conclude by telling that the federal powers of the states should not be taken away. We, the people of India, have already followed the system of giving more powers to the federal system. Federal system, you are given a chance in the subsequent bill to get the consent of the chief minister, who is responding the local state people, and also the governor of the state.
Thank you.
Sir, that state should also have the power to say that these are the people from our state should be represented as a judge, and also the Chief Justice of India. Article 222 should not be taken up as a usual course. It should be exceptional one in certain cases alone. Thank you.